This is what's happening in America. Governor, the damn governor, decides to pardon a murderer, a killer, who killed a Black Lives Matter protester. Put up the picture full mass here. It's a hell of a story. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said he wants to pardon the U.S. Army Sergeant Daniel Perry. All right, Perry is right next to him. After a jury found Perry guilty on Friday of killing a Black Lives Matter protester in Austin, Texas. The actual murder took place in 2020. Keep those pictures up. It was a nationwide protest in the summer of 2020. Many people took to the streets to voice their opposition to the state of policing in America after the killing of George Floyd and others. So in this case, Mr. Perry killed Garrett Foster. Mr. Foster was murdered by Mr. Perry. Officers arrested Mr. Perry because they believed he committed murder. A prosecutor prosecuted Mr. Perry because they believed he committed murder. A jury found Mr. Perry guilty because they believed he committed murder. A judge decided not to set aside the verdict, which, by the way, the judge had the power to do. The reason the judge did not do that is because obviously he believed also the evidence was there for Mr. Perry to be convicted of murder. Literally less than a day later, the governor is already on Twitter talking about how he's going to free this murderer. Keep in mind, he's not looking at evidence. He was not in the court. He has not weighed some massive package of information, character testimony, etc., the normal things you would typically have to go through in order to get a pardon. And here's the kicker. The governor doesn't even have the authority in Texas to pardon. He has to receive the pardon or the request directly from the Pardon and Parole Board. So what does he do? Instead of calling up the friends that he appointed to that board, he decided to go public and tell them, send something to my desk. It's insane. Floyd's death led to the arrest of 4 officers involved in the incident and sweeping police reforms across the United States. Thousands of people participated in the Black Lives Matter protest across the country in the weeks following the funeral. In Abbott's letter posted on Twitter on Saturday, the Republican governor references the state's stand your ground laws of self-defense. The law allows for deadly force if someone believes themselves to be in danger. On the other hand, the law prohibits someone from claiming self-defense when they themselves incited or provoked violence in any way. Abbott wrote that these laws cannot be nullified by a jury or progressive district attorney. Let's put up the tweet. As soon as this murderer was convicted of killing a Black Lives Matter protester, convicted by a jury of his peers, by the way, the governor decides to do this. I am working as swiftly as Texas law allows regarding the pardon of Sergeant Perry. He says Texas is one of the strongest stand your ground laws of self-defense that cannot be nullified by a jury or a progressive district attorney. Unlike the president and some other states, the Texas Constitution limits the governor's pardon authority to only act on a recommendation by the Board of Pardons and Paroles. Texas law does allow the governor to request the Board of Pardons and Paroles to determine if a person should be granted a pardon. I have made that request and instructed the board to expedite its review. I look forward to approving the board's pardon recommendation as soon as it hits my desk. Additionally, I've already prioritized reining in rogue district attorneys, and the Texas legislature is working on laws to achieve that goal. What's happening here in America? Laws have already been passed in the state of Georgia to restrict a district attorney's ability to prosecute local crimes. That has already happened. The catalyst for that, Fonnie Willis, the black woman who is the DA in Fulton County leading the investigation, the criminal investigation against Donald Trump, Giuliani, and others. Texas. In Texas, you literally have a prosecutor doing his job, elected by the people, submit the evidence in front of a jury. That jury, being the fact finders of the case, weighed the evidence, weighed the circumstances, and they all came to a unanimous decision that this man committed murder. What does Abbott do? Abbott does not review the case. Abbott is not seeking counsel or advice as to the variables involved. He immediately comes out and says, I'm going to pardon him. So here we are. We are letting murderers go who kill people that are allied with Black Lives Matter. And we are firing, expelling state lawmakers in Tennessee who simply stand up and say out loud what needs to be said. That is where we are. There's more. Perry, 33, was indicted in 2021 on charges of murder, aggravated assault, and deadly conduct after he killed the 28-year-old Garrett Foster. That was July 25th, 2020. The Army sergeant was driving for Uber in downtown Austin when he stopped his vehicle and honked at people protesting police violence while they walked through the street, local law enforcement said at the time. Perry then drove his car into the crowd, according to police, where Foster had been seen openly carrying an AK-47 rifle, which is completely legal in Texas. There are conflicting eyewitness reports, however, regarding which man raised their firearm first, but Perry, who was also legally armed at the time, shot and killed Mr. Foster, and then fled the scene. That's called evidence of a guilty conscience. Perry, who later called police and told them he had shot Foster, but had done so in self-defense, now awaits sentencing and could possibly receive life in prison. But no. He's not going to receive life in prison because the governor is okay with the fact that he murdered someone who was advocating for Black lives. Got to understand there's a political context and a racial context. All of this is at play. Meanwhile, political analyst Craig Agranoff told Newsweek on Saturday, and I quote, "It is not uncommon for governors to pardon people who have been convicted of crimes, but it is unusual for a governor to pardon someone who has been found guilty of murder." What are they doing? What's really happening? Let me tell you what's happening. Democrats are still playing checkers and the Republicans are playing chess. Checkers, you use your power to gain position. Chess, you use your position to gain power. So the governor has a position. He's using his position in order to level his power. So you may have more progressives in this country than conservatives. Very true. Progressives, well over 90% of progressive ideas are actually agreed with by the majority of American voters. But then you have this adversarial political category called conservatives. While they offer no solutions, they offer no remedy, they provide no coalition or support other than their white supremacist ideology and their ridiculous assault on women, they are still an effective opposition when they have no ideas. Why? Why does this continue to happen? Well, many of the Democrats are feckless leaders, and this is partly their fault as well. It is a damn shame we are living in a country where governors will let convicted murderers go on day one. He don't even want the man to stay in jail for a day. And then we have lawmakers exercising the constitutional protected right, being told that they can no longer serve the 78,000 people they each represent, who voted them in, who elected them. DAs are under attack. If you are Black and you are prosecuting an element of the white establishment, they are coming for you. This is where we are. All right, dear brother, thoughts?
Yeah, this is, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, this is a triple wedge issue bonanza for somebody like Abbott. He is speaking clearly to Donald Trump when he's doing this, and he's talking about those three words: progressive district attorney. What has Trump been saying about Alvin Bragg in New York? What has he been saying about Georgia? He's talking about this as a wedge issue, that there are progressive district attorneys that are bringing down this country. What is he doing? He's filling that coffer with his own words about this, and that's an opportunity for somebody like Abbott. The other part of that, which is just as sickening, but just as much of a wedge issue, it says he was carrying an AK-47, openly carrying an AK-47, which is legal in Texas. So it's a gun issue as well for Abbott. He's saying that this was stand your ground, another wedge issue. This is the chess they play that you were talking about, Dr. Richey. They take these wedge issues that have nothing to do with making the country better, but have a lot to do with sensationalizing things that are happening. And it's also a way of pointing out, and I think it's important that we realize that it's not just cops beating George Floyd on the streets of Minneapolis that is in play here when it comes to racist and race-motivated law enforcement. It happens in juries, it happens in courtrooms, and it happens in the governor's mansion. So this has this sort of trail of taking us against Black Lives Matter, a popular issue among conservatives, in favor of guns, and stand your ground, a popular issue with racist heritage among conservatives, and then progressive district attorneys. This is exactly what he wants, and this is exactly what in Texas he can very easily get.
Very, very well said. We're going to continue to follow the development. Obviously, there will be some.